Well, the security situation is what we close in with today, and we'll now be joined by Ahmed Sulaiman. He's the Secretary General, Arawa Youth Consultative Forum. Thank you for joining us. Very unfortunate incident happened at the Emir's Palace Mosque in Kano, well, almost 72 hours ago, and just some few minutes or an hour ago, we heard of sporadic gunshots in the heart of Yobe State, that's Damaturu. Tell us your reading of all of this, because once we thought we were really handling the situation perfectly well, especially by the military, and all of a sudden it would seem that it has gone out of hand.
Well, good morning, everybody. And you said perfect handling. I don't even think that fits the description of the job that is being given to the Nigerian people, because military, by its definition, has a specific cut-out job, and we are not seeing it, because for us Nigerians, we have been so comfortable with the idea of our military being almost the best. If you look back at the activities of the military, even outside the country over the years, the United Nations has given full confidence to anything military within and outside Africa. They are always ready for the job, and when they get there, they do the job and they come out with a clean bill of lading. Now, suddenly it bursts out within your own environment, and everything just as if you've been hit at the back of the head. You don't know your left from your right. You see an army staff, a chief of army staff, coming out and saying all the wrong things when you expect him to stand his ground and talk to you, talk to the nation as a military general.
How do you mean wrong things?
I remember when this army chief of army staff's town was sacked around Mubi area.
Okay, you're talking about chief of defense.
Chief of defense, yeah, I mean. Now, officers at that level coming out to talk things that I mean, you cannot even start enumerating the blunders and the goofings that has taken place in this country at the military level. There is no sign of security or intelligence moves. They are always reactive. They are not proactive, because they ought to preempt these things. Every time they are 1 or 2 steps behind these people. And for how long are we going to continue? Don't be surprised before evening, another part of the country will be hit. The job from Yobe now this morning, 72 hours you said was in Kano, 72 hours now in Yobe, the next thing where? Now, the sad thing is, I sit back as a civilian thinking ahead. I said, this is December. It's coming up to 2015, the last month of 2014. The biggest date with history as far as Nigeria's politics is concerned is 2015, 1 month away into that new chapter. Have they been thinking of the change or the escalation that may start taking place from Christmas into January?
If you're reading it like this, it then means it's about politics and not religion.
It has never been religion. I told you here so many times. I told you it was never a religious thing. But the important thing is the sovereignty of this country is being challenged, and we have a sitting government, we have such a military outfit, we have security outfits, and nobody seems to put his finger on. Is it when the country is sacked, then history now will start telling the whole world that once there was a country, once there was a potentially powerful country? We don't need that. What we need, with the intelligence of Nigerians, the talents, and all that any nation will need has been given to this country, and yet we are missing the point all the time, every step of the way. Something is wrong. That something is, we don't like to face the truth.
What do you mean? How do you mean we don't like to face the truth?
Now, you see, let me now start from...
Maybe I should ask is, what's the truth that we don't like to face?
That truth is, Nigeria is made up of these various ethnic nationalities. That is truth. Whether anybody likes it or not, 1914 did happen. Amalgamation did happen. Nobody can turn it or wish it away. Now, the best thing in life is making the best of any bad situation. There are people now who will take it to their graves, the idea of we are not supposed to be united, we are different people, we are this and that. But the truth is, we did not ask for it. We found ourselves in this territory called Nigeria. When you look from northeast, southwest of this country, you don't have anything to complain about, because every part of it is full of wealth, is full of talent, and yet we don't see it. We try to look for the negative things, but when me and you meet on the surface, we quickly say, my brother, yes, do you know that a Yoruba man, for example, is never comfortable, an average Yoruba man is never comfortable with an Igbo man? I'm sorry to say it on the set. No. Is the Igbo man or the Hausa man, Yoruba man comfortable? These three axes of Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, they pretend on so many things. Now, that is not what we need. We needed to be truthful to each other.
Well, this picture you're painting now, is it a recent picture or is it a picture that has been?
It has been.
So what was the problem?
This is what brought the Civil War. And the sad thing, or the tragedy was, after the Civil War, our military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, failed in one thing. He failed to do a proper truth and reconciliation of the people of this country. You know, no winner, no vanquished syndrome. That just leveled everything. And at that point, those who felt they were being hurt never had a chance to be heard, never had a chance to be petted. That grouse is still there.
But let's go back a little bit. Based on that history and the animosity you said between the ethnic
Yes.
groups in Nigeria. Nigeria is not the only country that has multiple ethnic groups, is it?
I know that.
And these other countries are living peacefully. So how is it that we're not able to live together?
We are talking about Nigeria. Whether it is not the only country, the point of concern now is it is Nigeria that is boiling. It is Nigeria that is the focus of the world. No matter what it is, the rest of the world sees it in this country. Nobody can just take Nigeria for granted.
So how do we move beyond this friction?
Beautiful. First, you ought to decide to recognize the realities on ground and take it as it is, and then try to build on it. This country has never enjoyed any reasonable constitution which is operated upon to touch every individual citizen of this country. That is one of the problems. We have yearned, asked, fought for constitution, a new constitution that will respect the federalism that we claim to be, and everybody turns a deaf ear. What is so difficult in a sitting government? Concentrate on giving this country a new constitution, so that if that is the solution, because everybody is crying about marginalization. Once you're marginalized, what happens?
The question is, how does, I've listened to you now, listened to, you know, the theory, we've gone back in history. How does this explain this Boko Haram insurgency? How does it explain that the people will see, if they're truly brothers and sisters, their own fellow brothers and sisters being killed in a manner that is worse than killing goats?
There are many schools of thoughts to which you can align yourself when you're talking about this Boko Haram thing. Boko Haram, as far as I'm concerned, as of this morning, I can tell you that it is just a group of sick people having their way. Because Islam never dictated to you that you can go out there and kill, and for killing you'll be rewarded. Islam never condoned that. It tells you clearly what happens to you if you take a soul. So whoever it is who comes and says he's doing jihad, the histories and other books that talks about jihad did not tell you this is how you operate your jihad. Jihad that a Muslim does is always part of it, because, for example, now, if you try to do the right things in humanity, you are doing jihad. The fact that you are assisting in having a peaceful coexistence within every 24 hours, you are doing a jihad. Jihad is always on a positive note. So when somebody now starts talking to you, the problems we have now is because there is no law in order in this country, you will find that the clerics, either Christian or Muslims, they always have some corners, and the people who are ready to listen to them because they have nothing better to do, their brains does not function. So when they sit them down, when they pump them with their half-baked understanding of the scriptures, these ones just take it hook and sinker and they start working on it. They even hero worship this.
Is it significant, or is it of any significance that the mosque of the Emir of Kano was the mosque that was attacked?
They try to hit at so many things at the same time. First is like, I want you to understand Kano and then equate it with Lagos State. Now, we are very fortunate that that thing happened and it stopped as it stopped. It would have just exploded into another snowball of only God knows how we are going to interpret it. The same thing, God forbid, if something of that nature now happens in Lagos State, what are you now going to expect at the reactions? First, let me tell you, I'm a northerner. In Lagos State, as I stay every night and every day, I am always thinking about that day when Lagos State would erupt on such issues, and where will I be and my family. I know I am going to be one of those helpless victims. My price for staying in Lagos State within an ethnic community who perceive that there is this ill will, ill feeling from the north, and the northerners towards them, either on a religious basis or on political basis. So now, as I sit, I just sit because I believe what will be will be. But the little that I do within Lagos State is my portion, and I am enjoying doing what it is I'm doing. Like having the opportunity to be here in channels variously. The things that come out of my mouth is coming from my heart and my brain. Now, the little that I contribute is worth being in Lagos State. The day I drop dead, violently or in my sleep, that too, I have no power over it. I've already come to terms with those kind of thinking. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. But nobody wishes for that. All I want is for this country to find its footing. And it is very easy and some people, a few group of people, are refusing that opportunity for this country.
Why do you say, you said they hit at so many things, they tried to hit at so many things
Good.
on that day?
Those who hit that place expected, one, the emir will be in that mosque. That's one. They missed the target. He was even out of the country. Two, they expected an eruption of the whole of Kano State, refusing to hear any kind of soothsayers' prayers, to go out there and expecting also that other states will catch on and latch on, which never happened. If to say other states of the north have picked on that, on the religious sentiment, what would you imagine would be the situation today, 72 hours after that? Nobody can tell you the situation they missed on that. But today I can tell you, as of this morning, I was talking to some of my colleagues in Kano. One of them came out in the morning, just as you come from inside your house and stand in front of the house. Your neighbor too comes out. He says to me, I deliberately just posed a statement. He said, these situations of bombing and things that is happening, why don't we just all just support President Jonathan so that he finishes this term and then let the election decide whether he comes back or not? Do you know, these two neighbors, one from the other side, one from the other side of his door, they just turned out and looked at him and said, Assalamu alaikum, and they just went inside. Can you imagine that drama? He just tested their mindset to give Jonathan the opportunity to just peacefully reach that election time without the bombings and all this. Give peace a chance was just the statement. For mentioning Jonathan to just take the opportunity of cruising into 2015 election, they had no word to say. They just Assalamu alaikum, and everyone, both of them entered their bedrooms.
It comes back to what you said about that is all politics. We're still in the discussion because, finding solution is the ultimate that we're talking about, so that the once enjoyed peace in the north, especially in the northeast, will return, and in other parts of the country. Well, we hope that we should have you back in the studios subsequently. Ahmed Tijani Sulaiman is the Secretary General, Arawa Youth Consultative Forum. Many thanks for coming again today.
All right.
Well, just to say many thanks for being such nice company as we did start of the show today. Damaturu is under siege. That's the capital of Yobe State. And we spoke with our correspondent, Jonathan, who says, everyone is, the place is in disarray, running helter-skelter. We also spoke to an eyewitness who spoke to us from his hiding in harsh tones. We hope that the authorities would have gone in there to salvage the situation. We'll keep you abreast with what is happening in our bulletins. Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Well, thank you for watching. I'm Maupe Ogun.
And I'm Nell Tegwe. Have a good day.